I grew up working on engines my whole life because my dad's a diesel mechanic. So I grew up with the hands-on experience and I really wanted to apply, that hands-on experience with the theoretical aspect of things. And Mass Maritime was really the school that combines both perfectly.
This is Facility Rockstars, the podcast that celebrates the unsung heroes of our daily lives, facility professionals. I'm your host, Jay Culbert. Join me as we honor these great leaders, sharing stories, insights, and expertise that empower us all to learn and grow together. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Coludus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Welcome back to Facility Rockstars. Today, we're kicking off a very special series in partnership with Massachusetts Maritime Academy, an institution that's been developing hands-on leaders, engineers, and operators for generations. In this series, we're sitting down with MMA cadets to hear their stories firsthand, why they chose this path, what they're learning inside and outside the classroom, and how they're preparing for careers that quite literally keep our world running. We're starting with the cadets themselves, the next generation of facility professionals, engineers, and leaders who are already gaining real-world experience, building technical expertise, and learning what it truly means to lead under pressure. So whether you're a seasoned facility rock star, a student exploring the field, or someone who just appreciates the people working behind the scenes, this series is for you. Let's get into it. Today, I'm sitting down with Knox Ackerman, who is a senior and a double major, one in marine engineering, one in energy systems engineering. Knox, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you sitting down, taking a little bit of your time and sharing your story with us today. So that said, Knox, what got you first interested in Mass Maritime Academy? What drew you to the school and what made you decide, you know what, that's the school for me. That's where I'm going to go.
Well, I first became interested when I was looking for a place to go. I discovered the marine engineering program. I visited a couple of schools. Mass Maritime stood out as really the best one for what I wanted. It's a great environment here, and really just seemed like a really good program.
Outstanding. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Kind of just walk us through. I mean, you're a senior, so you're over 3 years into your journey here. Can you walk us through some of the highlights and, what really stood out for you so far?
Well, I started out just doing marine engineering, and really for my first 2 years here, that's what I was focused in on. And I did like that, and it's a lot of more practical skills that I got to learn. And then kind of moving into my junior year, I saw a little bit of what was going on with the energy systems program. So I kind of wanted a little bit of that. So over the summer, I decided I was going to switch into a dual major and pick that up. And really, it's been great having a little more of that design experience and a little more technical experience to go along with it. It's really makes a great combination.
That's outstanding. And what an achievement. I mean, most people just do a single major, and that's quite an accomplishment in and of itself. And you have two, so well done. What is there a moment or an event or a part of your journey that stands out maybe as the most exciting, like a moment or something that occurred for you?
Really, the most exciting thing is kind of happening right now and moving into next semester with the senior design project for energy systems. My group is building an electric boat, so there's a lot of really the accumulation of all this knowledge I've had to acquire, both with marine engineering and with energy systems engineering. It kind of seems like the perfect project to combine the two majors. And we're kind of just finishing up the design phase and moving into some of the construction, but it's really exciting to see what we're going to accomplish and really what we still have left to do.
That's wonderful. And you know, you're touching on something that comes up so often when I talk with anyone from MMA, really, or anyone who's graduated, and that's the practical application of the knowledge that you gain.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. What kind of boat are you building? I know it's electric powered.
Well, we're participating in a promoting electric propulsion competition.
Mhm.
So it's run by the Office of Naval Research, has a grant, and our teams get money. And there's a few different categories. What we're competing in is a unmanned vessel, and it's an open category. So any sort of hull configuration is acceptable, and carrying 60 pounds of payload or cargo is really the objective.
So looking to the future, as you are a senior now, Knox, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself pursuing? What are your ambitions? Yeah, what would you like to do after you graduate?
When I graduated, I was thinking really working on a ship with my marine engineering license would be my primary goal. Really making use of that and getting some of that practical experience before I'm tempted to move into any sort of design or land side job.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we wish you the very best with that, of course. Um, and since, you know, engineering is such a big focus for you, let's just step away from that for a moment. And, you know, what do you like to do? Where are you from? What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I'm from Western New York, right near Rochester. And when in my free time, I usually just like to be out on the water, have a sailboat. And I do a little bit of sailing with my friends and fishing whenever I can. Plenty of good fishing here, even on campus. So I don't have to go far for that.
I've seen people pull stripers right from the campus, right out of the canal down there. That's pretty amazing. Well, Knox, thank you so very much again for sitting down and coming on the show and sharing your journey with us. And we wish you all the success you can get in the future.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Take care. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Sam Toerne, who is an energy systems engineering major and a senior at Mass Maritime Academy. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking your time and sitting down with us.
Of course.
So, Sam, my first question is, what drew you, if you can remember 3.5 years ago, right? Or maybe before then, what first drew you to the Academy and what made you say, you know what, that's the school for me. That's where I'm going to go.
I'd say what first drew me was my grandfather. He went to Maine Maritime Academy, and he was a pretty big influence on my life. So throughout pretty much my whole childhood, he kind of always had that little thing in the back of my head mentioning any of the maritime academies. And my senior year of high school came down and I toured Mass Maritime, and I just fell in love with the place. I'm really big into, we were talking about this earlier, kind of understanding the behind the scenes of how things work. My family has a construction company, so I've been around that and kind of understanding like, oh, that's how a building is made. Like all the little behind the scenes things I find so interesting, and coming down here and learning about the professionalism and the regiment and the coursework really drew me in. And then the remainder of my senior year, I toured a bunch of other schools, and whenever I toured those schools, I kept just thinking back to, oh, this place doesn't do it like Mass Maritime would, or Mass Maritime does it this way. And I really just fell in love with the place, and through a series of my interests and kind of the influence of some people on me and my life, that's what drew me here.
I love it. That's fantastic. Good for you.
Thank you.
I love that you mentioned the behind the scenes, because you're right. We touched on that right before the show, right? It's like facilities is keeping the whole world running, yet rarely are they ever seen or heard from.
Oh yeah. Whenever I go into a building, I always love like looking up in the ceiling, seeing what I can spot, or kind of getting like someone opens the door, get a behind the scenes of what's going on back there. I love it.
And speaking of behind the scenes, look at that beautiful controls lab that you're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Heck of a nice lab that Ashraf and team built there. Thank you for sharing that. And can you walk us through your journey a little bit? Now we understand the why of why you came here. What's your journey been like so far?
My journey has been pretty good. Freshman year, I started off a little rough academically. I wasn't really used to how college classes would work, but really turned that around really quick, kind of picked up the pace, met a lot of new friends. My major is the smallest major on campus. We have a really tight-knit group of guys. Within my class, there's around, I think there's 8 kids in my class, and there's usually like between 12 and 20 kids in that ESE class. So got to know these guys really well, been moving through all 4 years with them, learning from them. My sophomore year, I got involved with a club on campus called the Association of Student Engineers. It's kind of like a networking club, basically. They do a lot of networking opportunities and outreach within the facilities and engineering world. And I actually, last year, I became the club president. And since then, I've been running that organization with one of our faculty members and a team of students. I've also had a chance to participate in the regiment here, getting to be first a follower and then eventually transitioning to a leader. Last year, I was a squad leader. Some maritime grads, if they're listening, definitely know what that is. You're dealing with all the freshmen and kind of stuff within your company. And this year, I'm part of the regimental staff. We're the main student leaders on campus. We oversee different aspects of different things. My specific role is the academic operations officer. So I oversee all academic related things on campus, from different classes that the freshmen are required to take to each major has a student that's in charge of that major. So I oversee all those, pretty much anything academic related I'm involved in. So I've really embraced the Mass Maritime culture, stepped out of my comfort zone. If you told senior high school me that I was gotta be standing in front of a group of people talking to them, or being on a podcast talking to who knows how many people, I would never have thought that. But over the years, I've been really involved within my major, enjoyed my coursework, gotten really close with a lot of my professors and learned their stories, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
That's fantastic, Sam. That was impressive to walk through. Wow. And congrats on all the accomplishments and all the leadership that you've stepped into as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So if you were to pick, or are you able to pick one, moment or event or something that really stands out as maybe the most exciting or the most meaningful along the journey here?
I don't know if I have one major one, but a specific one that comes to mind. My sophomore year, my major takes a statics class. That's really kind of the first serious engineering class for our curriculum. And I remember the weekend before my final, me and one of my really good friends were sitting in the library all weekend doing a ton of problems. And I just thought of this because the memory came up in my photos app on my phone of me taking a picture of like all this work we did on a whiteboard. And that whole weekend was awesome because we were just so focused on what we were studying and what we were learning. And I got to the point where like, oh, I'm really excited. Like, I'm understanding the coursework, and I feel like that kind of ties into just college in general. It was a good experience where you're like, wow, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm doing. This is what's got to get me to the next point. It was really exciting.
That's fantastic. That's exciting just to hear you say that. Actually, you just teed up my next question perfectly. So getting you to the next point, right? So you're a senior, and, let's look to the future. And are you clear yet on what you may want to pursue or what you might want to do once you graduate?
I'm not entirely sure. I have a lot of different options. I've done a couple co-op experiences. One was with a commercial HVAC company, and the other was with a pharmaceutical company in their facilities department. I love both aspects of that industry. One was more project management based, and the other was more facilities management. And I'm really torn between the two options. Thankfully, this winter, I have a nice long winter break. I don't have any more co-op projects I have to finish. So I'm going to take some time, reflect on what I want to do in the future, and start looking for some job opportunities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what's out there. All my friends are starting to think of what they want to do, and seeing the kids within my major kind of picking this career path they want to go down is exciting. And I'm excited to start making that decision too.
That's great, man. Definitely an exciting time. Big things in the future for you. So aside of all the leadership and everything you're focused on with the education and the journey here, Where are you from, and what do you like to do when you're not focused on those things?
From Danvers, Mass, around 40 minutes north of Boston. A lot of my free time I spend doing a lot of creative things. I actually bought a 3D printer last summer. That so much fun. It's cool. Just kind of, I've designed a few things in some 3D modeling softwares and printed those, but I find a lot of stuff online and print that and sand it and paint it and make something else. Like I made a lot of like little gadgets for my mom around the house. Like my mom's a big paint by numbers person. So she found a little ring that you could put a paint by numbers paint thing in. So I printed that out and she uses it all the time. But
I bet she loves that.
yeah, she loves it. Whenever I come home, she's like, "You need to make me a new one. The last one broke." But stuff like that. I like getting outside. I like hiking. Being up in the North Shore, it's pretty easy access to New Hampshire and Maine. I love going up north, getting out on the water with my friends. A couple summers ago, me and one of my friends rebuilt his boat. That was really exciting. Kind of taking the engine apart and putting it back in and laying down new fiberglass and everything. It was a blast.
That's fantastic. Wow. Yeah, it's awesome to hear. I fortunately have been grateful to meet with several cadets now, and I think every single one of you has said you like to get out on the water. Not surprised. Not surprised
surprised.
based on your school.
Yeah.
That's great. Sam, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and like really sharing your story and your passions and, 3D printing. We've gone through the gamut here. It's great. And I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Today, I'd like you to meet Ryan Liberatore, who is a junior studying facilities engineering. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Culbert, for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time, having the interest, and sharing your story with us. So, Ryan, when you started thinking about school and higher education, what drew you to Mass Maritime Academy, and what made you ultimately decide, hey, this is the place for me. I'm going here.
Ultimately, I'd have to say it was the hands-on experience, talking to a couple fellow grads, one of them being one of my best friend's older brothers. They really mentioned how the hands-on experience combining the theoretical aspect of like taking numbers and then applying it to how it looks like in the real world systems. So, for example, looking at the thermodynamics of like the heat inside of a boiler and then actually looking at how a steam system works and how, the steam creates ultimately electricity through a turbine, mechanical energy, all that. So I grew up working on, engines my whole life because my dad's a diesel mechanic. So I grew up with the hands-on experience, and I really wanted to apply, that hands-on experience with the theoretical aspect of things. And Mass Maritime was really the school that combines both perfectly.
Outstanding. Yeah, I've heard that so many times, Ryan, and the school and all of you really, really walk that talk. Like it's very true. You can see the real world application being applied like every day, literally. So that's great. Can you tell us a little more detail about your journey so far? So you're a junior, you're about 2.5 years into your journey here. So can you tell us a little more about it?
So I'll start with freshman year. Freshman year here is a little bit tricky. You're trying to get accumulated to the regimental lifestyle at the school, as well as kicking off your first year of college. College versus high school is two completely different ball games, and trying to stay on top of your workload in college is definitely stressful. But I started out as a marine engineer, actually, and then once I got through the orientation, I realized, being away from home for long periods of times isn't really for me. So I ended up switching to facilities engineering, got into the MSL program, interviewed and got into that, it helps me receive my third engineer's license by the time I graduate. So it helps me build the licenses for working inside shoreside facilities. So different power plants or even pharmaceutical settings. So at the end of my freshman year, I completed a C term, which it's really the bread and butter of the school. It helped me see we worked on a steamship. We had the Kennedy at the time. So it was the first time seeing a steam system in play. And it really brought out the light of the school. You know, freshman year is really stressful, like I mentioned, and going on sea term, it was the first time traveling outside of the country for me. And you're on a ship, you're seeing how different systems operate, you're seeing how to fix each system, because you can't go to like a Harbor Freight or an Abishon or a parts store like you can when you're on shore. You have to figure it out when you're offshore. So that was extremely cool for me. My sophomore year, I started digging into co-ops. My first co-op I started was at the MBTA in the winter, and that was working on transit facilities maintenance. So that was going, checking the different train stations, checking maintenance orders, work orders, and doing site plans, different stuff like that. And then this past summer, I worked at NRG, which is a boiler operator contracting company who sends operators out to different pharmaceutical plants to operate the boilers, take care of them, do maintenance on them. So overall, through my experience here, you kind of get a taste of everything. What I mean by that is I've seen facilities maintenance, I've seen high pressure boilers, I've seen turbines, you name it, we've seen it. I've seen refrigeration, the whole 9 yards. It kind of prepares you for everything, and it helps you get a license towards almost everything inside of a facility.
That is just awesome, Ryan. And think about the diversity of experiences you just walked us through, right? You know, your first time outside the country, offshore, by the way, not on land, and the co-ops. Thanks for sharing all that. That's amazing. Amazing. What would you say, if you could pick one, what's been the most exciting part so far at MMA for you?
The most exciting part for me has probably been the leadership experience that you can get through here. So it all kind of starts your freshman year. Your freshman year, you're going in. Personally, one thing I struggled with was public speaking. I couldn't do it for the life of me, especially when I was at high school. So you come to the school and it really challenges you. So once you become a sophomore, you can apply for different leadership laboratories is what we call them, but you can go up, and your freshman year, you have squad leaders in charge of you, and their whole job is to indoctrinate you to the regimented lifestyle and then make sure you're doing your academic obligations. So sophomore year, you can start building into those roles. You can start going up and being involved with the leadership with the freshmen and helping them with their academics, and basically help them be indoctrinated and teach them the regimented lifestyle furthermore. And then junior year, you apply, you become a squad leader, and you basically, we have a 14-day orientation, give or take. And the whole point of that is to, get them used to the regimented lifestyle of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
So, on top of that, there's other things that you can do. I've done multiple open houses. I applied to be an admissions ambassador, and that is all public speaking. It's basically getting out of your comfort zone and getting better at something that you struggled with or you were weak in.
You know what I find to be the best part of this whole thing is here you are telling us that you weren't a good public speaker, and you're on a podcast, and you're just fluently just doing it and speaking with us about it. So it's a testament to everything you just explained, and the leadership aspect continues to come up in conversations around MMA, which is just it's fantastic. It's great. So, Ryan, if we could fast forward a little bit, I know you're a junior, you have a whole nother year and a half to go through here, but do you have any clarity on where you may want to land, what you might want to pursue when you graduate, and maybe how MMA has helped you get prepared for that?
Yeah, so actually mid-November, I went to Washington, D.C. through the Navy's Nuclear Propulsion Officer Candidate Program. and I signed a contract through them to be a nuclear prototype instructor or a power training unit instructor. So that job entails 5 years of service once I graduate from Mass Maritime. And what I'd be doing is I'd be teaching enlisted and commissioned personnel how to safely operate and maintain a nuclear reactor engine room. And
Mm.
honestly, the only difference between a reactor engine room that you see on like nuke subs and the aircraft carriers versus what you see in a power plant is A, it's much more confined in space, and B, it's the fuel type. Ultimately, it's the same system, except where on a power plant, you may see like natural gas, heavy fuel oil. In the nuke subs, you'll see a nuclear reactor.
Mm. Pretty exciting stuff. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
That's awesome. I can tell. I can tell. Well, before we wrap up, can you tell us, when you're not doing something with a nuclear reactor or a power plant or studying here at MMA, where are you from and what do you like to do with your free time?
I'm from Plymouth, Massachusetts, so it's not too far up the road from Mass Maritime. On my free time, I hang out with friends. I like to work out and go to the gym. One of the things that I picked up in the past couple of years is I build muscle cars. Uh,
Mm.
I have a project car that I'm working on with my father. I'm working on a 1984 Mustang. And honestly, I see the benefits of like, we have welding labs here at school, and I use the welding experience that I got at school and I applied it to, welding body panels on a car and then the understanding of a gas engine, for example. I used that experience that I got from here and applied it into my life at home and my project at home. So I've been applying everything that I'm learning here into my life at home.
Yeah, that's great. Nothing more needed. What a cool project. An 84 Mustang, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. What stage you at with it?
So I'm finishing up the body work right now. I have 2 more panels to do, and then it's time to block sand and paint it. And then I get it registered to go on the road. So
Outstanding. You look excited about it. You should be.
yeah, I'm hoping by summer. It's a very cool summer vehicle.
That's
So
awesome. Well, Ryan, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with me and really talking us through your journey. Clearly, it's been very positive and productive for you. So thank you very much for your time.
and thank you, Mr. Culbert, for having me.
You're very welcome. Hey, rock stars. If you're tuning into the podcast and are feeling overwhelmed by all the maintenance demands at your facility, don't stress. We've got you covered. Our sponsor, Culbert, is your go-to partner to help you tackle all those demands and get them done right, on time, and with top-notch quality. From project planning to execution, Culbert is there to make hard work easy. Visit Culbert.com today to get started. We're here with Senior Facility Engineering Major, Ed Mekjian. Ed, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time and wanting to be here and sharing your experience with us, Ed. So, I wanted to ask, what drew you to Mass Maritime in the first place, and what made you say, this is the school for me, and what made you pick it?
Well, what really drew me was just like the word, like everyone knows Mass Maritime, everyone knows the grads, everyone knows how it just sets you up for a successful career. I've always heard it from my parents growing up, and they didn't go to Maritime, but they knew the name. So when I looked into it and I came here for the tour, I was like, this is definitely a spot where I want to be. There's no other schools really like it. You can just tell by like the first time you walk in for like a tour, accepted students day or anything, like the level of professionalism. It's not just the academics are great, hands-on experience is great, but it's also you gain a different level of professionalism that you can use anywhere in the field, in your personal life. Like it helps you in all aspects of life, which is what I needed. I came into the school as like a shy, like quiet kid. I do good in school, but I didn't have the skills that I need in the work field. You can't go somewhere and work with a team or be like a manager without any people skills. So that was something I had to develop even just freshman year, like having to greet your squad leaders, greet your staff, little things like that is just like what I knew I needed. It kind of puts you in an uncomfortable position, but everyone knows once you're done with the 4 years here, like it's going to pay off.
That's fantastic. And, you know, MMA absolutely has such a powerful, strong name and reputation. You're absolutely right. And I love the way you just walked us through that, you know, show up as this shy person. And now you've got this confidence. I mean, you're on a podcast, right? You're a senior at this major academy. Thanks for sharing that. Can you walk us through just any highlights on your journey here? What's it been like the first 3.5 years?
The first year, it was very uncomfortable for me. I didn't like you got to greet everyone. You got to be outgoing. I always kind of like to just do my own thing, get my own work done, and stay to myself. But learning that really helps you build connections. Everyone that was in charge of me, from the juniors and seniors when I was a freshman, all you become friends with. And then you see later in the work field at my internships, I've seen people that I was like, oh, I recognize them from class, things like that. And then going through like sophomore, junior year, you kind of learn from your leaders and then see what they did wrong when you were underclassmen. So if you're like, you know, I didn't really like the way they did this, when you become the upperclassman, you can change that, which I think you should be able to see it from both sides, which is what the academy does perfectly. I think you can learn from when you're a freshman, sophomore, then apply a junior, senior year. I know for me, I wasn't really interested in being a squad leader or have any position when I first came in because just nervous of being uncomfortable. And the longer I stayed here, I was like, you know, I'll give it a shot. I ended up doing orientation squad leader, which I had a blast. It was a great time. As much as I enjoyed it, I also learned my own leadership skills, which you can't really get at any other school. There's no other school like it. Learning those leadership skills can apply directly to the work field. If you're in charge of a group of workers, you got to know how you teach them and what skills work best for you leading. And then that led to me getting my senior positions. In my company, fourth company, I'm the training and retention officer. And then I'm also the facilities operations officer. So for facilities engineering, I'm like the head between the school, the student body, and the faculty.
So impressive, Ed. So impressive. I love how you walked us through leadership and the fact that you could make a difference. You saw something as a younger cadet, and that, you know, you said, I don't really want to be in a position like that. And you then, what I heard you say is you realized you did want to be in that position, and now you are, and you can make a difference. That's so powerful. That's great.
Thank you.
If there was one exciting like highlight you could pull out of your first 3.5 years, what would you say that is?
It would be, I think, getting my third engineer's license for Massachusetts. So through the facilities engineering program, you can gain your state licensing to work in power plants. So you can start from your second fireman, first fireman, to your third engineer. And then it goes to your second engineer, first engineer. So the way the curriculum's built, it helps you learn to take these state exams. So it's through Massachusetts. So my junior year, I got my third engineer's license, which I can use working in power plants, which I'll use when I graduate. And that was the biggest event of my career at school. You kind of study prepping for these exams, and then when you finally get it, it's just like it finally paid off, which is nice. So when I go to internships, I already have the license to work the job. So it's just gaining extra experience while I'm still in school. I can go there with the license I already need. And everything was provided to me by the school and the people before me. My position works a lot with the program mass license program, which helps the younger cadets get ready for the exams. And the upperclassmen before me did a great job prepping everyone. I know there's so many students now getting their license, and it's all because of the guys prior to us. So you kind of goes into the reputation of maritime. Everyone helps the guys under them. Like, especially in the work field, all the guys that I meet are always so eager to help, you know, underclassmen, even though you're in the same work field. They don't care about the competitiveness. They're not trying to put themselves at a higher rank than you. They want everyone to succeed, which is great, which I always notice.
Love that team aspect and achievement. And by the way, congrats on such a powerful achievement on your own there, the license. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So if you were to look to the future, then are you clear on where you may want to go and what you'll want to do with this amazing achievement you've had at Mass Maritime?
So I'm hoping to work in a power plant. I've had 3 internships. I've worked at Wind Waste Innovations, Vicinity Energy, and Canal Generating. My most recent one was Canal Generating, which is a power generation site, which can create up to almost 1,500 megawatts, which is the place where I really enjoyed. During my winter break, I'm going to go back there to work and then hopefully come back once I graduate in June. Just a great plant. It's majority maritime guys. It's like you just build great connections with everyone there. They taught me so much. I've learned so much from just being there. I was only there for over the past summer, and I just picked up so much that I've never really seen before. It was just great hands-on experience. I never really was at a huge power generation site like that. Vicinity Energy is known for providing steam and chilled water to places like Cambridge. And then Wind Waste Innovations is taking trash and burning that. So that created, my plant I was at was around 45 megawatts. So it wasn't anything compared to the Canal Generating power plant, which is around 1,500 megawatts. So that was a brand new experience, seeing a huge plant like that, and I just really enjoyed it.
That's fantastic. I love the clarity on what you want, where you want to go, and what you want to do. That's rare. Good for you.
Thank you.
So before we close out, I do want to ask you a little bit about you. So when you're not focused on power plants and MMA and engineering and facilities, where are you from and what do you like to do?
I'm from Avon, Massachusetts, about not too far from the academy. I went to Cardinal Spellman High School in Brockton, and then I decided to come here. I enjoyed going to the gym, playing sports. I always played soccer and baseball my whole life. So that's what I look into. I just like kind of hanging out with friends, going to the gym. That's about it, yeah.
Good for you, man. That's great. Well, thank you very much, Ed, for taking the time to sit down with me and really share your story and say so many powerful things about the school and your journey and your achievements. It's really an honor to sit down with you, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
And we continue our journey with our cadets from Mass Maritime Academy. I'd like to introduce you to a senior in the marine engineering program, Luke Dubois. Welcome to the show, Luke.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
Absolutely. Thanks for investing your time and taking a moment to be with us. So, Luke, I think you might have an interesting answer for this one, right? Because I had the pleasure of meeting you and going through the lab that's behind you at the school. So we met in person, which is great.
Yep.
Thank you for that again. So my first question is, what drew you to Mass Maritime Academy and why did you choose this school?
Yes, so I don't have the typical path. I'm originally from Minnesota. And so, of course, there's closer maritime schools, Great Lakes Maritime and such. But I have some family on my dad's side who are from Massachusetts. So growing up, I'd always heard of the school as a college down near the Cape. And then about sophomore, junior year, I really started getting into boats, particularly sailing boats. And so I looked into the marine engineering major, marine engineering and naval architecture, sort of. And so I ended up choosing Mass Maritime for a few reasons, family close by. And also I took a tour through the Bresnahan building, which I'm currently in, and technology like this behind me, hands-on diesel engines, steam turbines, that all was fascinating. That really was the nail in the coffin that sealed the deal for me. And so, yeah, I showed up thinking I was going to learn how to design boats, and I ended up realizing it's much more of a hands-on operational major. And I kind of lucked into something that I'm absolutely fascinated with. So I stuck through it and I've enjoyed every moment.
Great story. Thanks for sharing it. And, you know, I've heard from so many people at the school, the hands-on aspect is such a strong component of MMA and the journey. That's great. Can you walk us through your journey? So you're a senior. Maybe give us some highlights, Luke, of, the past 3+ years and, what really stood out for you.
For sure. I mean, starting out freshman year, nailing down the basics within the regiment that this academy has, followership, and then also combining that with classes, respecting the authority, right? There's the chief engineer on an engine room, the first, the second, the third cadets. And so as that went on, I was very interested in the classes. They help you with your Coast Guard application. And so as a freshman, I got my MMC, which is your Merchant Mariner credential. And with that, I had a wiper endorsement. And as a freshman at a maritime career fair, Interlake Steamship Company came, and I got to talking with them, shared my resume, shared my interest. And after sophomore sea term, I actually spent the whole summer. I spent 75 days on one of their ships working as a conveyorman's assistant. And then towards the end, the conveyorman left and they didn't have a replacement. So I got bumped up to conveyorman. And so for the last couple weeks, I was unloading 29,000 tons of iron ore in Detroit, Michigan with a big, huge conveyor system. Absolutely fascinating. But the school definitely prepared me for that. So that built my confidence, go back to school. Cadetship was another highlight, great moment. Getting on a roll-on, roll-off car carrier in Texas, going down to Brazil and back. Seeing slow-speed diesel engines for the first time was fascinating. And then now this operational controls lab behind me, which I help out with and help teach the next classes about it, has piqued my interest. And that was one of my main focuses now this year, is learning more about that. And along the way, seeing that there are shoreside opportunities for marine engineers. Obviously, I want to sail a long time, but I realize other things happen in life, and maybe a power plant or a hospital or something of that nature I'll find in the future.
What an amazing journey. Wow. So from Minnesota to Cape Cod to Brazil and back and everything in between.
All over. Yep.
That's amazing. That's good. Hey, could you explain what sea term means for those who might be listening
Totally.
and they don't know?
Yeah. So sea terms, I guess in its essence, a class, right? People sign up for this class, and it's the freshmen, the sophomores, and the senior cadets that will go on sea term. Those juniors do the commercial ship, where they get on a real ship like that actually is hauling commercial cargo, and that's your junior year. So you have 3 of the 4 classes at a time on the same ship, learning about their engine or their deck. So some people will be on the bridge, some cadets will be learning in the engine room. There's a big focus on maintenance, training, watch standing, and then utility, which really touches upon the importance of a clean ship. Good housekeeping prevents risks of fire, just general accidents and avoidance. And so that lasts maybe 65 days underway, and it's typically in January and February. A great time. Cadets get to socialize, get to see each other, especially at freshmen who have been sort of isolated to their own company divisions back on campus. You get to see your classmates, explore the world. We've been to the Caribbean a lot, but with our new ship, under emissions regulations, we're free to go anywhere there's water. We're going through the Panama Canal in a month and a half. So excited.
That is so exciting. Wow. Thanks for walking us through that. And that is the Patriot State, your ship, is a very impressive vessel.
Exactly. Yeah. I get on it every day. I love it.
That's great. So what would you say is your most exciting experience? I mean, you just walked us through a lot already.
Yeah.
But was it one
It's
that
really hard to
stands out?
pick.
Yeah.
I think finally getting on a commercial ship, it felt like, okay, this is real now. I see real people in the industry doing their job. They understand the importance of doing it right. This matters to them. And just the sheer size and volume. Our main engine was a Mitsubishi slow-speed diesel rated for about over 17,000 horsepower. And on startup, we open up the test cocks to blow out any moisture that might accumulate just to protect the cylinders. And it's direct air admission. So you hear that first bell coming out of port and just blowing out moisture, soot, a little bit of sparks and flame. I was just staring up at it in awe. I mean, it's like a 3-story tall engine, and the smile was ear to ear. It felt amazing. So I think that's just a I could feel it, the sound, the smell, the sight, all the senses were engaged, and I love it. Yeah. So that was the peak.
You can hear it in your voice, and for those watching on YouTube, they can see it in your face like I am right now. So
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. Thank
Everyone
you.
should get to experience that once in their life. I don't know how, but it's amazing.
So cool. All right, so amazing experience so far. You know, after graduation, kind of a twofold question, right?
Mhm.
Are you clear on what you may want to do? And then, if you are, how do you feel MMA or Mass Maritime Academy has set you up for success doing that?
Totally. I think I'll answer the second part of that question first because it sort of leads into it.
Mhm.
Mass Maritime does a great job with their career fairs. So that's a 2-day event that happens once a semester, fall and spring, where hundreds of companies come to our campus. They offer interviews, they offer informative meetings. So seniors and juniors, they're going to be interviewing for jobs, co-ops, internships. Sophomores and freshmen, they'll often hold introductory meetings that sort of tell these cadets, hey, this is what you can look forward to in your career. And then, of course, there's the social event in the gymnasium where every company has a stand. So almost all the companies I've considered I'm considering working for have come to at least 1 or 2 career fairs, and that's how I've made some connections, including ARC, the company that I commercial shipped with. And so I would love nothing more than to spend a very long career working on their ships for years and years to come.
I'll admit you indicated a little bit of that when we were in person too, and I said, "Wow, this guy is really clear on what he wants to do right now," and that's impressive, Luke. It really is.
Yeah, no, I feel blessed. So
Good for you, man. So before we kind of wrap up, just you shared you're from Minnesota. What do you when you're not focused on marine engineering and these amazing diesel engines, like what do you like to do?
totally. I think, well, one reason I want to have a long career is months and months of vacation at a time really appeal to me. I'm a believer in work hard, play hard. So when I get off a ship, I love nothing more than to get into a sailboat. That's almost so from boat to boat, but one's work and one is, well, it's work, but it's work that I also enjoy. And so most of my time is spent right now. I race on a sailboat up in the Great Lakes each summer.
Mm.
And so I'm on the delivery crew. I live on that sailboat for about a month and a half. And I would, of course, like to get into, I don't necessarily want to pursue professional sailing, but I'm going to keep like high level competitive sailboat racing. That's going to keep me busy when I'm not working.
That's awesome. What size boat are we talking about that you race?
It's a 50-foot carbon fiber boat. It's called MC Squared. It's made by Reichel Pugh. It's from the 1990s. Sailing people might have heard about it. Terry Hutchinson, a famous America's Cup sailor, used to sail on it. So it's awesome.
It sounds awesome. That's no small boat there.
No,
Good for you.
it's a blast.
Luke, thank you so much for taking the time, sitting down with me, like really walking us through your journey. Very grateful for that. And I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thank you so much, Jay.
I'm thrilled to introduce you today to a senior in the facilities engineering program at Massachusetts Maritime Academy, Chase Dwight. Chase, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Culbert.
Absolutely. Thanks for investing your time with us today. So as you know, Chase, this whole show series is about your journey as a cadet at the school, some faculty members, and then graduates. So what I wanted to ask you is, what drove you towards Mass Maritime Academy? Like, why did you choose this particular school?
That's a great question. I'd start from the beginning. I'd say I was a senior in high school, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. That was for certain, but I knew I was definitely more of a visual learner, definitely more of a hands-on learner as well. So, and I liked working outside. I liked the hands-on, the physicality of it. So when I discovered Mass Maritime and kind of the discipline they provide and the structure, I kind of knew that was a school for me. Something specific with the facilities engineering program is that it just kind of, it's all the labs and all the working with things like these and diesels and electrical, like it's things that you wouldn't get an opportunity at a different school with that hands-on learning. So I think something that like has helped me is like, yeah, it's more discipline and there's definitely my life's a lot more difficult than maybe some other college students, but it pays off. And not only have I become a better engineer and in the classroom, but I've also become a better human being and a leader as well. So that's something I
Those
definitely take from both of them.
those are really big things to be able to say, and then testament to yourself and to the school. You mentioned, certain challenges and you're better for it. Can you highlight a little bit of your journey? Like, what do those challenges look like and those successes, and kind of walk us through your path so far to being a senior?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say something the school kind of definitely helps with is just finding your identity and kind of finding like your confidence. I'd say before as a freshman, I was a very quiet kid. I wouldn't be comfortable doing something like this, for example. I just get nervous, but this school forces you to learn to deal with that and learn to have confidence in yourself to do things. So through internships and talking to employers and presentations and you name it, I've been forced to be better and to have more confidence in myself and to be able to sit in front of you and speak and kind of represent myself and own my identity, I think is something that's helped me. And it's helped me become a leader too. I think through the actions and the my disciplines and what I represent, that's also allowed me to be a leader and kind of rub that off on my peers.
I've heard bits and pieces of that, and it's really impressive, Chase, to hear that story from you, because coming in, I was a quiet kid too, and we all learn in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And then you grow through that. But for the school to be able to do that with you in such a very short amount of time, call it 3.5 years, right?
Mhm.
It's very impressive, and it really sets you up for life success. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
So where do you see yourself going in the future with this awesome education, confidence, and ability that you've built here at the school? Like, where do you see your future taking you?
That's another great question. The good and bad thing about this school is that I get a lot of opportunities and a lot of different kind of ways I want to go. I could tell you, like, before when I was a senior in high school, I would never have thought military. So now it's like, do I want to be further military discipline? Do I want to further my educations and get a master somewhere? Or do I want to enter the workforce? So there's so many options, it's overwhelming, but I guess for me, my biggest thing, and just from the school, is that I just want to learn and I want to be better and I want to gain more knowledge and just to be a better human being and just be a better engineer as well. So there's a lot of options and I have a lot of decisions to make coming up in the future, but uh, it's exciting to have so many opportunities available to me.
That's fantastic. And I'll tell you right now, you certainly don't show up as a quiet kid. That's for sure. So a lot has happened clearly over the last few years.
I
So
appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a long journey for sure.
excellent. So more of kind of a fun question, but what's been one of the most exciting things or experiences that you've had at the school so far?
That's another great question. I'd say I had the opportunity to, I don't know if you know, but Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I had an opportunity to work out there in the airport. I was a kind of a vehicle maintenance intern. We worked with diesels, but I also was able to work through like the HVAC industry, and it was such a cool experience. I was able to drive out there. I did a lot of skiing, but that's something that he was a Mass Maritime grad, so not any other colleges have the opportunity to go and do something like that. So just to be able to get that opportunity and live someplace for a couple months out west on my own, skiing, learning a completely new kind of like different way of living because it's just in the mountains in this beautiful natural landscape, was definitely something that, like, I'd say it was probably a highlight of my journey here.
That is just awesome on so many levels.
Oh,
That part of
yeah,
the country,
it was amazing. Yeah, it was cool.
good for you, man. Very fortunate. That's great. So yeah, well, before we wrap up, tell us like a little bit about yourself outside of maybe, facilities engineering and school. Like, where are you from? What do you like to do with your free time?
Yeah, so I'm from Southern New Hampshire, East Kingston. And honestly, it's kind of the same what I do here at the school is I like working outside and I like finishing projects. I'm a hands-on guy, so I have a couple vehicles at home I like putzing around with and fixing up a couple of rust buckets, but they do the job for sure. So I'd say, yeah, I play baseball here at the academy too. So I'm not working outside. I'm probably doing something as far as pursuing baseball, but I'm definitely more of an active, energetic person. I'm not one to sit on the couch and do nothing. I like doing projects and getting stuff done. But
That's great. Hey, those
Yeah.
rust buckets are some of the best ones to work on and practice with,
yeah,
right?
they're
So-
fun. They get a lot of memories too. But
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Chase, thank you so much for taking the time and really, sharing more of your journey at MMA, why you went to the school, what you gained from it, what you're gaining from it, and where you want to go in the future. I wish you nothing but the best.
I appreciate that, Mr. Culbert. Thank you for having me.
That wraps up our first episode in this special Facility Rockstars series with Massachusetts Maritime Academy. A huge thank you to the cadets for taking the time to share their journeys, their challenges, and what excites them about the future. Hearing their stories is a powerful reminder that the next generation of facility and engineering leaders is already stepping up with curiosity, discipline, and a real passion for the work. This is just the beginning. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll continue this series with more conversations featuring MMA faculty and graduates, exploring their experiences, leadership journeys, and the paths that led them to Massachusetts Maritime Academy. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Facility Rockstars, share it with someone who works behind the scenes, and stay tuned for the next conversation in this series. Catch you next week. It's a wrap. Another episode of Facility Rockstars is in the books. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Coludus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Until next time, facilitate and rock on.